Part 3. The politics in of glitch. So some personal background with regards to the glitch politics. So this was the title of a panel I organized at the 2011 GLI.tz/H in Chicago, Illinois, and also a talk I gave at Vivid Gallery in Birmingham, UK that same year. I mentioned before that there's a whole host of themes explored by glitch artists. I myself am most motivated by that glitch's potential to bring to light the often unrecognized politics embedded within our digital systems. Though most of my early videos were formal, like structuralist and materialist in an experimental film sense, in 2009 I went to grad school in Chicago, and working with advisors like John Cates and Ben Chang, I released a sort of hybrid essay tutorial video artwork project called the Glitch Codec Tutorial, which prioritized glitch art as a process, as a way of experiencing the politics and true nature of the digital medium rather than as a means to an end. I've since lectured a great deal on the subject of glitch politics. I also co-curated a show entitled Tactical Glitches with Rosa Menkman in 2014 at CIDLab in Naples, Italy, and I co-wrote an essay with Kurt Cloninger entitled Sabotage, a Glitch Politics Manifesto. Okay, so I want to read this quote by Ellen Ullman from her book Close to the Machine. I'd like to think that computers are neutral, a tool like any other, a hammer that can build a house or smash a skull. But there's something in the system itself, in the formal logic of programs and data, that recreates the world in its own image. We think we are creating the system for our own purposes. We believe we are making it in our own image. We call the microprocessor the brain. We say the machine has memory, but the computer is not really like us. It's a projection of a very slim part of ourselves. We place this small projection of ourselves all around us, and we make ourselves reliant on it to keep information, buy gas, save money, write a letter. We can't live without it any longer. We think we're creating the system, but the system is also creating us. We build the system, we live in its midst, and we are changed. So technology is not neutral. Any given technology's characteristics aren't simply determined by its utilitarian agenda. They are also, consciously or not, symptomatic of the producer's worldview. Compare the following file formats, for example. From a utilitarian perspective, these formats are very similar. Ultimately, they're all ways of storing text documents on a computer. A text file is an open format, which means it can be used and implemented by any app, which is why you usually never have any issues opening text files. A PDF is also an open format, but with more features, and thus arguably better than TXT. But from a cultural perspective, some of these extra features make it worse. For example, a PDF can be made to prevent the user from copying text out from it. To someone who believes information is most valuable when it can be copied and shared and built upon, this extra feature poses a political threat. The doc format, unlike TXT and PDF, is not an open format, which means only authorized applications can open and edit these files. It reinforces Microsoft's hegemonic view on computing. A WWF file format is almost identical to the PDF format with one tiny difference. It cannot be printed. It was produced by the Worldwide Fund for Nature in Germany for the purpose of discouraging unnecessary printing of files and thus conserving paper. Ultimately, all these formats serve the same purpose, but their details reveal a lot about the worldviews of their creators. When we use these formats, we subscribe to these politics, consciously or not. This is not only true of file formats, but of all technologies. And as more and more of our world becomes digital, it's wise to view these technologies less as tools and more as environments. Marshall McLuhan said, "All media work us over completely. They are so persuasive in their personal, political, economic, aesthetic, psychological, moral, ethical, and social consequences that they leave no part of us untouched, unaffected, unaltered. The medium is the massage. Any understanding of social and cultural change is impossible without a knowledge of the way media work us as environments." It doesn't much matter what you post on Twitter. The app as a service is a huge environment. And that is the medium. And the environment affects everybody. What you post on Twitter affects very few. And the same with Facebook and any other app. What you post is nothing compared to the effect of the social media post. Social media sets up a paradigm, structure of awareness, which affects everybody in very, very drastic ways. And it doesn't very much matter what you post as long as you go on with that form of activity. And so to return to Ullman, we build the systems, pregnant with the biases of their creators, we live in its midst, and we are changed. And this cycle more or less goes unchecked. Viewed this way, digital literacy isn't a privilege, it's a prerequisite for agency in our digital age.
We believe technology is at its very best when it's invisible. When you're conscious only of what you're doing, not the device you're doing it with. An iPad is the perfect expression of that idea. It's just this magical pane of glass that can become anything you want it to be. And that's why so many people in so many different places are using it for so many different things. It's a more personal experience with technology than people have ever had. And now, with the new iPad, we're elevating that experience by dramatically improving the fundamental elements that define it.
While I can appreciate Apple's part in the computer's evolution from a device which required a dual degree in engineering and mathematics to a more or less easy enough tool that empowered the masses, the sentiment expressed in this iPad commercial and nearly all of their products today is a step in the opposite direction. Alan Kay and Adele Goldberg, whose work inspired Apple's original Macintosh a great deal, long before anyone thought there'd ever be a personal computer, they described computers in this way, as a kind of meta-medium, whose, quote, content would be a wide range of already existing and not yet invented media. And today a computer can most definitely become anything you want it to be. The iPad, however, in all its magical glory, doesn't allow for this. It's an opaque system. Its code is proprietary and closed. Its case is shut with non-standard screws to discourage tinkering, and the terms and conditions do the same. Even developers are met with financial and political hurdles. You've got to pay for the right to develop apps that not only generate revenue for Apple, because they get a cut of every sale, but give users a reason to buy the device in the first place. And then often apps are rejected by the gatekeepers, dismissed and or censored. Clearly this cannot become anything you want it to be. Now let's recap and return to glitch. A glitch is this unexpected moment in a system that catches us off guard. And when it does that, and more often than not, reveals aspects of that system which might otherwise go unnoticed, while the system, like in the iPad, attempts to remain invisible. Because glitch art is fundamentally about using technology in ways that they weren't intended, it's not uncommon for glitch artists to be met with all kinds of obstacles, in the form of error messages or updates that render a glitchy exploit obsolete, which, regardless of the artist's intention, forces them to either accept the technology's embedded ideology or actively rail against it. To quote Ted Nelson, an iPhone is not technology. It's packaging and conventions. Your software choices are like any addiction or religion. They want your loyalty, and they want your money, and they want you to think like them. It's culture politics masquerading as technology.